Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday. We've made it through another week. And it was what type of week? That's right. An awesome week. And Fridays are always awesome because then you get to have the weekend off, hopefully. If not, at least Sunday. And you're here today. And I appreciate your attendance so much. It means so much to me that you plan your day around when you can make it here where we're live streaming. And that shows just faithfulness and dependability. And I greatly appreciate that for the ones that do that. Thank you so much. And for the ones that I hear make their lunch late at work or early, depending on what time frame they're in, just so they can see this live. I really do appreciate that. And I know how much effort that takes. So thank you again. I really appreciate all the comments also that you guys sent my way about last week's lesson about dealing with disappointment. So thank you. And be sure, don't be afraid to comment below either. That kind of helps us when we go back and read and see what things that you guys have enjoyed or see, and we do read them. So thank you for the ones that do it. All right. So this week, I did want to show you my flowers from the garden. I ran out there and pick it up because I almost forgot. And it is hot out there, by the way. So, but these are kind of cute. I kind of just threw them in where we used to do our vegetable garden because I didn't want to do it this year. And so I just have a whole bunch of flowers in there, and I think it's great. And those remind me so much of summer. You know, I knew the name of them right before we started, and now because I'm here, I don't remember them. They're Susan something, and all I keep coming in my head is Lazy Susan. But that's not them. So if you know the name of them, comment below so I can know that. Okay, that was something from Pastor's work. So we'll check that later. All righty, so today's one-word title is familiarity. And this is a word I know that I have difficulty pronouncing. So I apologize if it's not pronounced right, but you try it. Familiarity. There you go. And we all know the old saying about how familiarity breeds contempt. So that's what we're going to discuss today, especially in the environment that we're in right now with the shelter in place and having to spend a lot of time, more than usual, with people, even the ones that we love. So we want to remember familiarity breeds contempt. And you know me, I love to look up words. So I looked up contempt because we pretty much know what that means. But I looked it up anyhow, and I was surprised at the definition. And the definition of contempt is the feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless. Wow, that's harsh. Or deserves scorn. Now, not that scorn isn't harsh, but worthless? Wow, that really shocked me that you would think someone is worthless. And that's just so harsh and just so mean. And contempt was a lot more harsh than I thought it was. So familiarity breeds contempt. Wow. So Proverbs 25:17. That's the scripture we're going to go on today. We've done it before in other lessons, but let's go ahead and reread it, okay? Proverbs 25:17. And it says, withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he become weary of thee and so hate thee. Wow, that's a good scripture to have. And again, that word there at the very end, hate thee. I didn't allow my kids to say hate. That's a really strong word, hate itself. You could say dislike, but the Bible tells us it's so that they're going to hate you if you stay too long. And you ever have those guests either at your home or maybe you've had them for dinners and they stay really late, way past your bedtime. And I know that's kind of hard for Pastor's bedtime because he goes to bed like at 8:30. So that's a little hard, not to kind of pass that. But these are the guests that stay till like 9, 10, 11, 12. You it starts irritating you, doesn't it? Yeah. So the Bible tells us, withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest thee become weary of thee, and so hate thee. God is trying to save us from ourselves. And it can be, he just knows so much better than we know. He knows us better than we know ourselves. And of course, he knows others. So in that scripture, he is definitely trying to save us from ourselves and other people from ourselves, if that makes sense. So what do those things mean? So too much closeness can cause an irritation and issues within our life. And some of those issues are misunderstandings. We've all had those either on our side or on the other person's side. And it's, not hearing what they said. A lot of times, especially in this technology day and age, with computers and texting people and reading emails, you can really misunderstand what the person is saying, especially if you don't really know them real well, or sometimes even if you do. I keep telling Pastor, I hear what he's thinking. And he always laughs and he goes, no, you don't. And then I'll tell him, and 9 times out of the 10, I'm right. Am I not? Yes, I am. I am right what he's thinking. And, that's just normal, because after being married 42 or 43 years, you kind of know the person real well. But when you're texting someone, that's really hard to decipher exactly what they're saying. And we have to be very careful when we're emailing or texting someone. Try to remember, how to word things so that they can perceive it correctly. But we've got to listen with our hearts and our ears and our minds and what the people are saying, especially if we don't know them. And I'll tell you what, from a lifetime of sarcasm from me and joking, sometimes people just don't get it. So we've got to make sure that it's cleared. So familiarity can breed contempt, and it also can breed misunderstandings. So we need to listen to what they have to say and not put in what you think they said. And women, let's be honest. A lot of times we think we can read between the lines, and sometimes we're wrong, because you don't know what the other person is thinking. But I really don't. I guess because I know Pastor what he's thinking, but you really don't. And to be honest, I don't want people to know what I'm thinking. There's just too much going on there. You don't need to get in there. So you can breed hurt feelings. We can hurt feelings, and they can hurt our feelings. And then there comes up that one of my favorite verses in the Bible. Very wise woman told it to me. And the ladies that are in Sunday school, I've heard it multiple times, but it is a good one to memorize and keep within your heart and in your thoughts when you're dealing with people, especially within the shelter in place. And it's Psalms 119, 165. 119, 165. And that reads, great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Did you get that one word in there? Nothing shall offend them. We have to read that. And it is difficult not to be offended when people say things that we might be insecure about or may be true. I think a lot of times we get offended when it's just maybe a little bit true about us. But the Bible tells us not to do that. Quote that in your head. I know I have gone over this with you ladies before, but it is something that you do. I still quote it a lot. And we have to remember, don't get offended what other people say. Especially in close environments. Pastor and I are 24/7 together. We love each other dearly. He is the light of my life, the love of my life, the only one that'll put up with me, and right now you feel the same way about me, right? Right.
I try to be that thorn in your side.
Yeah. Did you hear him? He said he tries to be that thorn in my side. It works sometimes. He does a good job. But we have to remember that there are things that we do. And I know Pastor says he doesn't, but there are things that each one of us do that can irritate another person. And whether you're in shelter in place with your husband or your wife or a friend or family, there is always something about you that's going to grate or irritate another person, and vice versa. Remember that when you're such in close quarters. And don't be sometimes like some of us that just like to irritate them. Make sure they're in the mood for it, because if they're not, you're going to be with that person a lot longer than you want to be after they get mad at you. So, let's try not to be offended when they are. Think of things of being more lighthearted. Make jokes, laugh at yourself. All right. So, and you know what? A lot of times when we irritate other people, whether meaning to or not, maybe it's a habit we have that bugs somebody. It could be anything. You could be in the kitchen and you're kind of trying to get around each other to get to something, and they're in your way and you're in their way, and it's just because you're just so much closeness. But try to remember, that this is someone you love, or at least like, because you're like in shelter in place with them. So try to give a little bit more understanding during those times. But there's also more fights. And I'm not talking about disagreements or maybe, going back and forth on different ideas, debating each other or playing games. I'm talking about full-fledged fighting. And I know to some of us, we just can't believe that goes on, but it does. And they escalate during these times. It's like when there's the increase in the heat, it causes people to get a little bit more agitated. There are more domestic calls during the shut-ins, like we are right now, shelters in place, than most days. Just like the police know that there are more domestic calls when there's a full moon. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but it is, and it does happen. There's statistics, there's all this. I don't have them all in front of me. Look it up, Google it, however, but there are more calls. And it's going, and there's more abuse, not just on spouses, but on parents and on children. So we don't want to, we don't want to be that way. We have to remember that familiarity breeds contempt, and we have to watch for these things. And we don't want those type of instances within our home, especially when we're spending so much time together. So we tend to get close, a little bit more relaxed when we're with family or friends that we've known for a long time, or husbands and wife, and we just get sometimes too relaxed. And that's what we've got to really watch out for during this special time that we're together, because when you get too familiar with each other, you tend to, like I said, relax more, and you tend to drop things more. Some of the things that we forget with our friends and our families, and sometimes even our neighbors, if you get too close to them, is that we forget our manners. In this day and age, it surprises me that common courtesies are no longer common. Like I've told you guys before, my kids are in their 30s and 40s. And so this is a while back. But when they would go for jobs, I had two of those kids that came home, and they were pretty shocked. And they said, "Mom, the reason the lady said I got my job was because I had manners." Can you believe that? That's uncommon, where he just got the job just because he had manners. Please, thank you, ma'am, sir. That was it. Of course, all my kids are awesome, so they got the job because they're good. But manners matter to people, and we have to remember that, even with each other. I say please and thank you to my husband when he does things. And ladies, I know this is going to be a little bit of a shock to you, but when your husband does a chore for you, say thank you. I don't want to hear, no. I don't want to hear it. I do not want any emails. I don't want any comments on, well, he doesn't thank me when I do it. Well, that's the wrong attitude. You have a lot of eyes in there. When they do something nice, say thank you. Even if it's a rare occasion, even if it's an everyday occasion, just say thank you. There's a couple of things for that. One, it's just common courtesy. And I bet you would have done it when you were dating. And two, they will do it more. they will when they think that you're not being sarcastic or, oh yeah, thank you. You want to say, thank you, honey, for doing that. It makes someone feel appreciated for the things that they're doing. And husbands out there, say thank you to your wives when they do stuff, even if you think that that's an everyday chore for them. Just tell them thank you. It makes people feel good that they've done something for you. And so let's remember that we need to remember common courtesies. Another thing is asking if someone needs something. If you're getting up and going into the kitchen to get a bowl of ice cream, hey, ask the other one, do you want some ice cream? That's all. Do you want a glass of water? Do you want some tea? It's just something nice, common courtesies. Another one is to help out a little bit. If there's one, either the husband that does all the chores in the home or the wife that does all the chores, just start helping him. Or maybe you share it. I don't know your setup, but go out and just start helping. Just start, if they're putting the dishes away, start wiping down the counters. Yes, part of doing the dishes is wiping down counters and the table and the stove and sweeping the floor. Just in case there's anybody out there that didn't know that. That's all part of cleaning up the kitchen when you're done with the meal. But go out there and start helping. Don't ask them, hey, do you need any help? Just go out and do it. And don't wait until they're almost all done. Because I'm telling you, I've seen it with a husband and wife couple before. And it's irritating because you're just doing it to get points. So go out there and help them from the very start. And these are things that will kind of common courtesies, and it eases tension. Okay, let's go to Ephesians 4:32. Ephesians 4:32, and that one is, and be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. So we've used that in past lessons, but again, the very beginning, be kind one to another. Be that person that you were when you first started dating or starting to get to know the other person. Don't drop down to where you're more relaxed, to where you're, not brushing your teeth in the morning, not combing your hair, not, making sure you don't smell, those type of things. You want to do the common courtesies, be polite, put on a smile. You don't want to have it to where you're making that old statement, familiarity breeds contempt, an actual action. So common courtesies are very uncommon today due to this, and the extreme experience of having this closeness can cause issues, and we know that. You become more short-tempered. You're kind of stuck, especially when we thought we had a leeway, and now we're back to the very close shut-in type of situation, and that's like being on restriction, and then you get off, and they go, "Oh no, you know what? Go back on restriction." Or grounding, however, whatever you call it. It's just, are you kidding me? And so you know that your irritation level is going to be a little bit higher than normal. And know that theirs might be also. Pastor has it really easy because I am so easy to live with. We know that, right? Don't be laughing. But know that everybody's irritation level is going to be a little bit higher than normal, and give consideration for that. And hopefully your person that you're with will give you consideration for that also. So we must watch out for our attitudes, our attitudes and the words that we say to the ones that are around us, especially our loved ones. Have you ever noticed when you go back to visit your siblings, you kind of go back into that same, that same kind of mix that you had when you were younger, and you start kind of acting like the way you were when you were younger. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one. You take that place in your family, and that's how you are. It's in you. Afterwards, you go away and you go, well, that's not how I am. So try to remember that happens and compensate for that for yourselves. Keep an eye open for it. We have to watch our facial expressions too, especially the ones that love to roll their eyes, because that can really set off somebody. Again, common courtesies. Try to remember when you first knew them or first started dating, and treat them like that during this time. So we're going to talk about how can we do this? We know we're supposed to. We know we're supposed to watch them. We know that other people are a little bit more agitated or touchy right now. So how can we do this? How can we make sure that we are the best Christian example for God? We are the best ambassadors for God, even to our loved ones, even to maybe they've been saved longer than you, or they're more spiritual than you. I don't know what your setup is, but how can we do this? So the number one thing that I believe that can keep us on a watch is to remember how to treat them when you were first dating. Keep that up. 2 is to keep your routines. Many of us are working from home. I'm back to working from home again. They called me in 2 weeks ago. So I'm back to working. Pastor works from home, not only for the church, but for his work. And it's actually within this room. And so like right now, he gives it up for me so that I can give this lesson to you ladies. And thank you again, Pastor, for allowing me to have this time. And so we need to remember our routines. And why? Because our routines give us structure. And whether you agree with that or not, it does. And structure, just as a child needs structure, we need structure in our Christian lives. So keep your routines. If you read your Bible in the morning, keep up with it. Try to get up at the same time. Sometimes it's okay to sleep in, but other times you don't. Keep the routine as much as possible. Do your Bible reading. Have that quiet time with the Lord. Brush your teeth before you go and kiss your loved one, or say good morning. Brush your hair. Everything that you do like you were getting ready when you were going to work or going to school, do the same. Structure helps a person, and it helps our rhythm within ourselves. All right, so we've got to remember that. Well, another one is to listen to good music. A lot of times there's scientific studies out there, and Google them, you'll see them. Certain music causes to get in a fight mood. Certain music causes to spend more money. Why do you think they put that music on in the stores that we go to shop? Because they want you to stay there longer and to spend money. Classical music, I love it. Some people don't, but it helps you to relax. It helps your mind to learn, to absorb more things. I had it playing when we would homeschool the children, or when they were doing their homework. You absorb things better. So look it up, find which ones work for you. Keep it ongoing. So you want to make sure that you keep your structure, because it causes less relaxation where you're letting yourself kind of go in the morning. Okay, I want you to think when you're in a situation, these particular things also, which is, would you treat a guest in your home that way, how you just treated that loved one? Would you? Some of us would. I know I've told the walkers, hey, Bob, get up and get your own cup of coffee. I'm kidding. Well, if you're a guest in my house, I actually go and get the own coffee. But we do have a sign in our house too, that I believe it was Eric, what we call our adoptive son, that passed away recently. And he bought a sign that said, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget it already. If you've been more to our house than once, then you're family. So, and that means get up and get it yourself. But no, you want to treat him like a guest. Would you treat a guest the way that you're treating that loved one? Another one would be, do you want to be treated that way? Would you appreciate the way that you're treating that person if they were to turn it around and treat you that way? Or would you treat others? Would you treat a Christian brother or sister that way, the way you just treated your loved one? Yeah, that's an ouchy one, isn't it? So let's try to remember that one. Would you talk to that person the way that you would talk to a friend or someone you just met? You ever notice that when people talk to people they don't know, a lot of times their voices get raised a little bit? When I was at work and I would answer the phone, and I answered it, it didn't matter what. Hello, such and such place. This is Anne Marie. May I help you? That's a very pleasant tone. And so one time my kids called my job and I answered it. And my child says, Mom, is that you? I go, yes, it's me. You called my number. He goes, oh, there you are. So we have to try to remember to treat our loved ones the way that you're paid to treat other people. Okay, so you answer the phone nicely, try to answer them nicely also. And do you want to be treated that way? Would you want someone to talk to you that way or to use those words? We really need to speak in sweet tones when you talk to people, not just when you want something from your loved one, but speak softly, be kind one to another, and try to remember we all are stressed out right now. So there's a difference between being relaxed and being, oh, I'm just not even going to get dressed today. Okay. Don't look at me, Pastor. I like my PJs, but try to, just be nice and kind and remember how to treat common courtesies to others. Do nice things for your loved one. It doesn't matter if they deserve it or not. Be nice to your family. And you know what? It will be reciprocated. The Lord tells us, what you sow, you will reap. So try to be kind to the other person. Acts of kindness, just little things. We've talked about those before. You could make a note for your loved one and leave it someplace they'll find it. I've done that. And then, of course, a couple days later, I have to tell Pastor to go look somewhere because he didn't find it. But sometimes he finds them, and it's nice. And it's nice to get little notes that say you're appreciated or thank you or you're a hottie, honey, or anything of that particular set. Make them lunch. You might already do that. So make them a snack. If you're in the kitchen getting a snack, ask them if they want something too and bring it to them. These are just little things that people do appreciate. And if they do them for you, common courtesy, just to say thank you. Help with the chores, I already mentioned. A big major one. Okay, so get your pencil, get your paper, or memorize it if you're just listening to it. But let them have time to themselves. And a side note, you kind of get time to yourself too then. But let them be. When the kids were growing up and Pastor would work multiple jobs so that, like a full-time and a couple part-time ones so that I wouldn't have to work. And so when he would come home, we would all be ready. We'd go to the door. The kids would be cleaned and we'd say hi. And they'd say, hi, Daddy. They'd hug and he'd say hi for a little bit. And the kids knew, okay, that's it. You leave him alone. And he went to go do stuff. And he had a whole hour to himself where we would not bother him. Now, if he wanted to come out and play with the boys and Jennifer or want to come out and talk to me, yeah, that never happened. But if you want to go play with the boys, that's fine. That was his hour to do whatever he wanted. If he wanted to take a nap, if he wanted to go out back, whatever, that's his hour. Well, now that the kids are all gone and he works from home, we do try to separate at times. And it doesn't always have to be that we're mad at one another. But if you start feeling yourself get agitated, just go in the other room. But we separate in different rooms. And it doesn't mean that, that we're agitated or that we don't love each other or, that things are going to happen to Pastor and he'll disappear. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you need time to yourself. So let the other person have time to themselves. Even if it's, you just go into the grocery store, by yourself and they can stay home and be by themselves. They can do whatever they want. They want to watch some show you don't like, fine. But let them have time to themselves. Let yourself realize that you need time to yourself also. So, and always, like kick it up a notch a little bit. Make it a little bit more special. Maybe bring out the good silverware and china for dinner. Make something nice that you can do for the other person. And these things might seem very simple, yet let's remember Proverbs 25:17 again. That's the one we used at the beginning of this lesson. And what it was is withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house. So separate into different rooms if you get agitated, or just separate to where you're going to have time to yourself. Lest he become weary of thee and hate thee. Too much of a good thing is just too much. I am a great thing. Okay. But as pastor, too much is just too much. So pastor's great too, and too much of him can be too much. So separate, give each other your time that you need. If you start getting irritated, I'm going to be very quick on these because I know I see that I'm going a little bit longer than I normally do. Zip your lip. Blunt and to the point, ladies, but it is true. You start feeling agitated and you said, Lord, help me, please. Zip it. Don't say anything. Walk away. Go into another room. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house. So we can't leave the house, but we can withdraw. And if the person follows you, go into the bathroom and lock the door and just tell them, I need time alone. If they don't understand that, wow, get a bucket of water or something on them. But let them have time to themselves. Go and ask God for help. Do something that relaxes you. Read a book. Knit. We talked about this last, how to redirect yourself out of disappointment. It does the same thing for irritation. Find something you do. Bake cookies. Bake their favorite cookies and then let them have it. The Lord talks about doing nice things for others and how that heaps coal upon their head. But don't do it with the heart of you want to heap coals on their head. Do it because you want to be nice and it relaxes you. Let's remember to be kind to each other and kind to your loved ones, even the ones that are the extreme closest that that you could say anything to and they'll still accept you and love you. Just be kind to them. They love you, and don't make them become weary and hate you just because of your acting and being too close together, too much familiarity. And I want to go back to Ephesians 4:32 and be kind one to another, tender heart, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, had forgiven you. Forgive your loved ones when you have become so familiar with them that now it's becoming an agitation, because familiarity breeds contempt. I love you, ladies. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you here next Friday. And I can't wait to get back in person to you guys within church. Hopefully it won't be too long that we're out, but I love you guys. Thank you so much. Comment below. Talk to you later. Bye.